condo in Manhattan. Baby girl, what's happening? You and your ass invited, so gonna get to clapping. Go pop it for a plan, pop it for me. Turn around and drop it for a plan, drop it for me. I'll rent a beach house in Miami.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Landmark Sports Show with Anthony and John. Broadcasting every Tuesday, coming to you from Landmark High School, covering sports topics including the NBA, NFL, UFC, and Major League Baseball. Today we have our UFC expert, mixed martial art expert, Anthony, talking about some UFC action. And give us the update on Hendricks Lombard.
Well, I like the way how you called me UFC expert, MMA expert, because as all of you should know, I watch MMA a lot. So, Johnny Hendricks versus Hector Lombard announced February 19th for UFC Fight Night. This fight is going to be a middleweight bout. Johnny Hendricks finally making his UFC debut after middleweight debut. After a very long time, because lately he's been missing weight at welterweight. His last 2 fights he lost. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, so I think this is a perfect time for him to move to middleweight. Hector Lombard, a veteran in the sport. He's been a champion in many other promotions, and so I think this is a good fight for both of these guys. My prediction, Johnny Hendricks all the way.
Yeah, you got Hendricks?
Yup, considering the fact Hendricks is a former UFC welterweight champion, and he still has power, so let's go Hendricks.
All right, you heard it here. Hendricks, February 19th, UFC Fight Night. Make sure you catch that. What channel is that going to be on, Ant? Do you know yet?
If it's not on FS1, then it's on UFC Fight Pass.
All right, so make sure you catch it so you can stay up to date. Ant, we got our first question of the day. This is coming from a Mr. Toolin in New Jersey. And he's interested. He knows that, again, that you're an expert in these kind of things. He wants to know, what is Tito Ortiz's legacy as a mixed martial arts fighter?
That's a good question. Okay, so for those of you who don't know Tito Ortiz, he's a legend in the sport all the way. He used to compete in the UFC where he was their light heavyweight champion. He defended the title 5 times. He's competed in many promotions all around the world. If you guys are wondering why is he asking this question, that is because Tito Ortiz recently retired this past Saturday after his win at Bellator 170 against the returning Chael Sonnen, who had returned from a 2-year suspension because he tested positive for steroids. So, Tito Ortiz's legacy, it includes UFC gold. It includes almost close to Bellator gold. He came close to winning the Bellator Championship back in 2015. Fortunately, he came up short, losing by submission. But Tito Ortiz, he has been known to be a great person, and he's known to be one of the best mixed martial artists of all time.
So, yeah, would you say that he would be in your top 3? So, I know it's hard with weight classes, but across all weight classes, he'd be a top 3 UFC guy over the years?
A top 3 UFC guy over the years? In his prime, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he competed in UFC and he was their champ, yeah. But after he lost the title, it just went down. He had a bunch of ups and downs moments.
All right. So there you go, Mr. Toolin from New Jersey. There's the 311 on Tito Ortiz, one of the greats that retired this weekend. Any chance he unretires and fights again, or you think he's done?
He did say that in the future he's looking to go back to Bellator, but I don't think as a fighter. I think he's going to work maybe behind the scenes or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's going to take the gloves off and put the suit on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, excellent. So, Ann, anything else UFC related before we move on to our conference championships? Anything else going on in the UFC world?
Well, not really, except for, like I said, I think it might have been last week when I mentioned Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw being coaches for the Ultimate Fighter 25. So now we know officially Cody Garbrandt's next opponent is TJ Dillashaw. TJ finally getting his rematch for the title. Cody Garbrandt coming off a huge win against Dominic Cruz to win the belt. So I think this is going to be a fun season. Both of the guys, they don't like each other anymore. They used to be teammates. The story is TJ Dillashaw was in Uriah Faber's team, Team Alpha Male. Then he left the team to go to Colorado to be with his coach, Dwayne something. I forgot his last name, but Dwayne and Uriah, they had problems over the years. And TJ, he left to go join his coach. So, Faber and Cody, they didn't take too much into it. TJ's been banned from Team Alpha Male. And, now TJ and Cody are going to end up fighting.
And for those watching at home, can you explain a little bit about how the show works? So I just learned something new. So do the coaches fight at the end of the show? Is that how it works?
Yep. They fight at the end of the show. They fight on a pay-per-view, which Dana White will find out which date they can do it. The only Ultimate Fighter season where coaches didn't face each other was Conor McGregor and Uriah Faber.
And why didn't they fight?
Well, they didn't fight because at that time, Uriah, he was scheduled to fight Francisco Rivera, and Conor was already the interim featherweight champion. He was set to fight Jose Aldo.
Okay. So it's just kind of a scheduling conflict.
Yeah, exactly. They probably wouldn't have faced each other anyways. Because Conor, he was featherweight at that time, and Uriah was 135 at that time. He was a bantamweight fighter.
Oh, okay. So they wouldn't have even matched up weight class-wise.
Yeah, I mean, Faber, he could have gone up to featherweight. I mean, he did it when he fought Frankie Edgar. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So keep an eye out for that, all you UFC fans out there. So we're going to transition to the NFL now. Sadly, the NFL is wrapping up, right? So we had the conference championships this weekend. We have the Super Bowl in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bittersweet time of year for us NFL fans because, we got some good football hopefully going on, but we're almost out of football for the year, right? And then we'll be sitting around waiting until August.
I'll probably have to go back to watching college football until then.
Yeah, or, some kind of Canadian football or even soccer.
Yeah. Hey, what you got against soccer? Don't disrespect Barcelona or Chelsea.
No, that'll be for another day. We'll have our soccer segment is coming in the spring. Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
All right, Ant, start us off. You were right. Ant picked the Packers. He let me know about it this morning when I saw him. He called that game correctly. So tell us a little bit about that game. What'd you see?
Well, let me just say, I told him so, and I told every one of you so. However, I did fail with the Steelers-Patriots, which John will get to that in a minute. But so the Packers against the Falcons, man, Matt Ryan, he looked incredible. He had great numbers. I think he had like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he threw for 3 and ran for another, I think.
Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns. 4 in total because he ran for a touchdown. Matt Ryan, he's a good quarterback, man. The Falcons are a new team to enter the Super Bowl. They're a young team. The Packers, you got to give them credit, too, because they tried their very best. But I knew for a fact that when we found out that the Packers are going to face Atlanta, Green Bay did not have a shot.
Yeah, you called it. You said.
Yeah. So the final score of that game was 44-21. I think last week I picked 20-17. Not even close.
Nope. A lot of points, right?
Yeah, exactly. 44-21. Atlanta, yeah, they're going all the way. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, don't give away your pick yet. You got a little sneak peek into Ant's pick next week for the Super Bowl.
Don't worry. I'm just saying who I think is going to win, but I'll give a full explanation next week. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I told John before the show. The difference between us is that he thinks, but I know. So I know Atlanta's going to win.
Yep, you heard it here.
You'll find out next week why.
Yep, that's what we like to call a teaser, folks.
Yep.
Keep you watching. I think something I noticed, too, from the Falcons-Packers game was the Falcons are very healthy right now, considering, we're kind of late in the year. And the Packers just, they ran out of healthy bodies to play. I heard something on the radio yesterday that Gunther, who is the defensive back they had covering Julio Jones, runs a 4.7 40, and Julio runs a 4.3. And they weren't really giving him that much safety help over the top. So when you got a guy that's 6'3" or 6'4" like Julio Jones is and can run a 4.3, and then you have a Gunther trying to keep up with him. It's going to be a mess every time.
Yeah. Also, there was a report on Sunday that Aaron Rodgers was dealing with an illness coming into the game. So I think that could possibly be another key factor to why Atlanta won.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think a lot of times, like, when you see illness, it gets kind of, like, downplayed. But anybody that's ever had the flu, which the report was that it was the flu, knows that really takes it out of you, and it's hard to do anything, let alone go against an NFL defense when you're feeling like that.
Yeah, exactly. But all credit to Aaron Rodgers, He had an illness, but he said, I'm still playing. So there's no fear in him.
No, I think if anything, even though Aaron Rodgers didn't get it done this year, I think he really cemented his legacy as far as one of the greats. It would benefit him to get another Super Bowl, but I think that, people see that he didn't have a whole lot around him this year, and he really was able to take them far.
Yeah, exactly. They went on an 8-game winning streak.
Yep. All right, switching gears to the AFC game, we had the Steelers at the Patriots. Patriots prevailed. Somebody here might have called that last week, and somebody here might have taken the Steelers.
Yeah, he called it last week.
Yeah. I thought, but it turns out that I actually knew as well.
I hate the Patriots.
Ant hates the Patriots. I don't know if you can tell him that.
I do. Enemies of New York and cheaters.
You heard it here. Enemies of New York and cheaters. I happen to agree. I don't like the Patriots either, but I did think they were going to win. I think Brady has found some sort of fountain of youth, and he just doesn't get older, and he's playing at a higher level now than maybe he ever has been. And you can just kind of plug in a bunch of names. Chris Hogan, who went to college to play lacrosse, and he ends up with 2 touchdowns, 180 yards. At this point, I really don't think it matters who you put around Brady and Belichick. I think that it's a winning combination, and I won't release my pick quite yet, but I will say that I disagree with Ant, and I think the Super Bowl could go a different direction next week.
He told me his pick before we started filming, so... Wow.
And any thoughts on the Steelers-Patriots game?
Yeah, the Steelers, they didn't look that great. They didn't look like how I thought they were going to play. I thought it was going to be a much closer game. I ended up turning off the game after halftime because I think it was 33-10.
Yeah.
So then I turned off the game and I said, nope. And then I got on my Xbox and I started playing.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, I think I made it to the end of the third quarter and then I bailed on it because, it's... Unfortunately, the games this weekend weren't great. I saw a stat that there was really only 2 close games so far all of these playoffs. It was the Packers and the Cowboys, which was a great game.
That was such an excellent game.
Amazing game. And then the Steelers and the Chiefs last week. But, it ended up being close, but it was kind of a snoozer of a game. So, in general, us as NFL fans, we have not been treated to a great product here in the playoffs.
Hey, John, question for you.
Yeah.
Do you remember, first of all, there's 2 questions, but I want to ask my own question first.
Yeah, of course.
Remember last year when we watched Super Bowl 50, how much of a boring game that was?
Yeah. Hopefully this year will be better. I think there'll be a little more offense this year.
Yeah, last year was just brutal. That was just a boring game. I remember we had the longest first half ever. All right. So, this question comes from John's dad in Jersey, and he asks, who deserves more credit for the Patriots' success, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick?
It's a good question. I was driving in this morning. I heard them debating this on Mike and Mike. So, I guess if we're taking our cues from them, we're doing all right.
Yep.
But it's hard. I'm going to lean towards Belichick, and this is why. I think that if you took Brady off of the Patriots and you put Aaron Rodgers or you put Peyton Manning when he was in his prime, or even if you put Matt Ryan, I think that they'd be having the same kind of success that they're having now. That kind of showed through the one year that Brady tore his ACL. They had Matt Castle as their quarterback, and they still won 11 games. This year, they were 3-1 with backup quarterbacks. So I think that Brady's a little more expendable than Belichick. I think if you took Belichick off of the Patriots, they wouldn't be the Patriots. I think, Brady would have had a lot of success in the NFL on his own without Belichick, but Belichick has elevated him all the more. So while Brady deserves a ton of credit, he's probably going to go down as the greatest quarterback ever, even though Ant doesn't agree.
No.
A little bit of a cheater. He let air out of some balls. I mean, I'm not a Patriots fan either, but I think that that Belichick is more important in that relationship than Brady. What about you, Ant?
Yeah, I agree. Belichick, he's probably the main reason why the Patriots have been so successful over the years. Even without Tom Brady, they could still be a great team. Now, here's why I disagree. Why Tom Brady is not going to be the greatest quarterback of all time. It has nothing to do with cheating. Actually, a little bit. But when you look at this, you have to look at the history of quarterbacks that came before Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at Joe Montana, man, you know. Every time Joe Montana went to the Super Bowl, he never lost one Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady, his Super Bowl runs, he's always lost to the Giants. But Joe Montana, I think he's still the greatest of all time. I think he won 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, at least 4. And you're right. I don't think he ever lost one.
Yeah, he never lost a Super Bowl. So I think that goes down to show you that he is the greatest quarterback of all time.
What if Brady wins this one, though? Will you change your tune, or he won't quite convince you yet?
He won't convince me just yet.
What if he wins another one? What if he gets 6?
If he gets 6, then we have a different story. But Tom Brady is definitely one of the best of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the thing is, this is what fans need to realize. In football, you can't really choose who the best quarterback of all time is because there's so many guys that you can choose from. It's just like in baseball. Because in baseball, you have to find out which position player was the best of all time. And in football, you have to figure out who the best position of all time is, you know?
Yeah, and I think, too, like, there's different eras of football, right? Like, quarterbacking before 1970 was much different than it is now, right? So it's really difficult to compare quarterbacks across time. But Brady's definitely going to go down as one of the greatest.
Exactly. The only sport that you can say who the best of all time is basketball.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only sport, because in basketball you're basically playing the same position.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Everybody knows who the best basketball player of all time is. Michael Jordan.
Dr. J. Oh, Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
I was just going to say Dr. J because he's a Sixer. But yeah, Michael Jordan.
He likes the 76ers.
We'll get to that. But that's actually, that's a great segue into our NBA.
Yup.
So
you guys have been waiting for it, and now, as Mike Goldberg said in the UFC, here we go.
Here we go. We're gonna dip our toe into the NBA water, right?
Yup.
Just a little dip this week. We're not gonna really jump into it after the NFL is over. All that's wrapped up. We'll really start to get into the NBA.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna dip our toe in this week. So, Ant, the All-Star. The All-Star rosters are out for the Eastern and the Western conferences.
Yep.
And for the Western Conference, your guards are James Harden and Steph Curry.
Yep.
So the big name that got left off there is Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Russell Westbrook not being an All-Star game starter?
How can you not put him as a starter? Meanwhile, you put him as a starter last year and the year before that. Russell Westbrook deserves much more credit than he does now. I mean, he's basically leading the Oklahoma City Thunder. Mm-hmm. And look what he does. He has triple doubles.
Yeah.
A lot. Pretty much almost every single game, man.
Yeah, I think he's averaging a triple double, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy to see that he's not a starter for the NBA All-Star game. It shows you how fake the NBA is getting, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, sort of. Well, I mean, I think my take is that the All-Star game has become sort of a popularity contest, right? Like this year they kind of tried to let the fans not have quite as much say by having the players have a vote. But even the players are voting based off popularity in some extent. And I think Russell Westbrook, while he's an incredible player, like he can be a little bristly at times. And sometimes players don't like him. Maybe fans don't like him sometimes. So I can understand maybe why he wasn't selected. It's hard to argue with the other two. I mean, Steph Curry is Steph Curry, right? He's amazing.
Of course.
And James Harden is almost having like a Russell Westbrook type year. You know, in general, to me, the All-Star game isn't as big of a deal. I'll be interested to see when like the All-NBA team comes out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Who wins it for the guards? Because to me, that's like more of an honor. When you're saying like we're building a Hall of Fame resume, I'm more interested in like who were the All-Pros as opposed to who made the All-Star game.
Yeah, exactly. So I have another question for you.
All right, let's go.
So a lot of people, they say that Stephen Curry is a terrible player because all he does is shoot three-pointers. John, what would you say about that? What is your opinion about Stephen Curry when he shoots all threes?
I mean, I think he's great. I think he changed the game of basketball. I think that he made 3-pointers something that teams are really focusing on now because they see if you can shoot 3-pointers at a high percentage. I mean, it's simple math, but 3 is more than 2, right? So if you have a guy that can make 3-pointers at a 40 to 45% clip, that's like a huge advantage on the offensive end.
Yeah.
So I think that he has far surpassed the expectations for him coming in. I can remember when he was a player at Davidson College, or Davidson University, and it's a smaller school, and he took him, pretty far in the Sweet 16. But I think he's been amazing. I think that people that kind of say he's not good are haters for the most part, and to say he's not a good player is, I don't think it's true. What about you?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with every single thing that you just said. I mean, for all the NBA fans, for everybody that says Stephen Curry is a terrible player, then you just don't know what you're watching, because
Nope.
you sit here and you say LeBron James is the best player of all time, but did LeBron ever play the best in the game? Did he ever play Michael Jordan or Shaquille O'Neal or Magic Johnson? Nope. The thing is, Stephen Curry, I love the way he shoots, He shoots threes. That's what I do a lot, too. When I'm playing basketball, I try to shoot threes.
Oh, yeah. 3's more than 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty good at shooting threes.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Curry, if you're watching this, just know that you motivated me to shoot a lot of 3-pointers in basketball.
Yeah, absolutely, Steph Curry. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. I know watching, the guys play basketball here at Landmark, everyone's trying to make threes now. Nobody's going to the hole. Everyone's banging away at the threes. So, yeah, I think his influence has really been felt.
Yeah, exactly. I love Stephen Curry. LeBron James, I think he's of course, he's one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the best players, no doubt. You can't take away anything from him. But, as a person in real life, I just find him very arrogant.
Yeah, and I know we have a listener in New Jersey, Steve, who I know he really hates LeBron James, so he's going to like this. But, yeah, he definitely comes off as arrogant and a little smug. And, some people say he's earned that, but, I think the decision when he was going to Miami really didn't help him because he made a big deal about where he was signed as a free agent. And yeah, he could probably use a little slice of humble pie. That would probably help his personality a bit.
Yeah, exactly, And people need to realize, too, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they were never good until LeBron James came back, even with Kyrie Irving.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Anything else, John?
No, I think that's it for this week. Ant, you want to wrap us up?
All right. So, thank you guys for watching. Tune in next Tuesday for a Super Bowl 51 preview, where we're going to make our predictions and why we choose that team. John, tell your dad I said thank you for coming up with this question. And until next week, I'll see you guys.
Have a good week.